Hey guys, welcome back to the Legend of Zelda Wind Waker HD walkthrough. This is part C of chapter 12 and we are covering the Savage Labyrinth. So what you'll notice is it's basically just a series of holes. The first floor contains just some keys, so you can use your boomerang. I would recommend against using your arrows. Next floor, just some mini blends, and the third floor is some blue bokoblins. So what you'll notice is that I have sped this up double speed because it's probably boring to watch me go through 50 floors of defeating enemies at normal speed. So hopefully this will cut the time in half, and it doesn't take that long anyways. It's about 30 minutes, so it's not too bad. After the bokoblins, there are some red choo-choos and then some magtails on the next floor. So you'll notice that these are all enemies from Dragon Roost Cavern, and that's how this is set up, besides the mini blends, but they're easy enemies. The first 10 floors are all enemies from Dragon Roost Caverns, minus the mini blends, and they get progressively harder as you go, or the combination of enemies gets progressively harder. On these first floors, I recommend saving your magic and your arrows. I would recommend bringing maybe magic potion and some elixir soup if you're not very confident in your combat skills in the game. But these enemies we've all seen before, we've all fought in this quantity before. It's nothing too hard, nothing too bad. Once you get down, there is a chance to go back up. If you're running low on health, you'll get a little bit of health back, maybe some arrows, but when you get down to the next part, it's Forest Haven enemies, or Forbidden Woods enemies. First floor of those are pea-hats, and then some green choo-choos that you'll have to reveal because they'll drop down from the ceiling, so you'll have to run around the area to reveal all of them. Next floor after that are Deku Babas. Just use your boomerang and they're one-hit kills, so nothing too difficult. Next floor will have some green bokoblins. These guys are a little bit more aggressive than their blue counterparts, so just be a little careful, but still nothing too difficult. Now you have some Mathulas. These guys can be really annoying. One shot with fire arrows will take them out, and I recommend that just because it can be a real hassle. The next floor is Bokobabas and Pea-hats. Just use your boomerang to take them all out. Conserve ammo. Then the floor after that, there'll be some bokoblins in jars and some green choo-choos. Remember, you can stun the green choo-choos with your boomerang and make them pop up. Next floor has some Mathulas and green bokoblins. This can be kind of tricky. Just take care of the Mathulas first, because otherwise they'll shoot morths at you, and the morths will slow you down. There's two Mathulas in here, winged Mathulas, but same as before, one fire arrow will take them out. So, highly recommend using your fire arrows there. Don't hold back, because you'll probably get some magic boost, and like I said, it's a good idea to bring a magic potion or something. Now we're at Tower of the Gods enemies. We have on the first round here the red scarved Wizrobes. So I would use regular arrows because you could shoot two pretty quickly at them. Next round down are Armo statues. Use your bow to take them out, and then you can use the Hurricane Spin if you want. Otherwise, just hit them individually in the back. They shouldn't bother you too much. Next floor down, we have some Armos Knights. Take them out by throwing a bomb in their mouth. Pretty simple. Now there's some pots here that contain yellow choo-choos. The yellow choo-choos, remember that they are electrified, and you can't hit them unless you stun them. So you can use either a bomb or your boomerang to stun them, or you can alternatively use arrows to kill them in one hit. Either way works. I like the boomerang method. Then there's some red bubbles down here. Don't let them touch you, they'll do some damage. They'll set you on fire. Just use your arrows to take them out, one hit each. Pretty simple. In this room there's a dark nut and a couple green bokoblins. Dark nut, it's a white dark nut, not too difficult. You shouldn't have much of a problem. We've fought plenty of these so far, so. Remember your parry attacks. And that's all I can really say about those guys. In this next room, there are some more Armos Knights here. But then there are also some red-scarfed Wizrobes. I recommend, if you don't have any magic potion or anything, conserve some magic. Otherwise, you can use fire arrows to take them out. In this next room, there are two Armos Knights with some red bubbles. The red bubbles can be kind of annoying. You can see the skulls laying on the ground. You can shoot them before they get up, and that might be a good idea. Finally, the last room of the Tower of the Gods just has two Dark Nuts. Actually, pretty simple task, since this is what we did at the Stone Watcher Isle to get the Triforce piece, but we had to fight 4 before at Outlook Island to get the Triforce piece there. So this is to get the Triforce piece, and yeah, that's all. It took me about 10 minutes to go through. So play the Wind's Requiem. You can open up, get the 8th Triforce piece. But if you're feeling courageous and want a special reward at the end, you can continue on. You can only do this if you have the Mirror Shield, though, so you've had to go through the Earth Temple. I assume if you've been following the walkthrough, that's the way you've done it. So shine light on the statue there and head down to the last 20 floors. These are Earth Temple enemies, so some Redeads here. The Redeads will stun you from afar, so the best way to take them out is to jump attack at them so that you can kind of cancel their stun. They're kind of scary enemies, but once you take them out, they're not too bad. So, and on to the next floor. Now there are some blue bubbles. These guys are really annoying, especially if you don't have the hook shot at this point. So use the hook shot, and you'll be able to cancel out their blue bubbles. Otherwise, you'll have to use the Deku Leaf to blow at them, or from afar you can shoot them with an arrow. But an arrow won't work if the blue bubble is surrounding them. In this next room there are some purple choo-choos, so just like we did in the Earth Temple, you'll have to shine light on them, and then either pick them up or smash them with the Skull Hammer, or whatever you prefer to do, whatever masochistic way you think is appropriate for these poor purple choo-choos. Anyways, head down, and in this room there are now some Poes, but you'll have to walk by them to make them appear. So they won't all just appear at once. So you'll have to walk around the room a little bit to get them to appear, then shine light on them and take them out as you would any other Poe. In this section there are 3 Mothulas, which can be very burdensome. But just take them out each with a fire arrow, you should be fine. This next room also can be kind of tricky. There's some Moblins and Redeads, so you don't want to get too close to the Redeads, otherwise you'll just get stunned and hit by the Moblins. But if you spend your time attacking the Redeads, you'll get hit by the Moblins as well. So the best way to do that room is to take care of one Redead and then try and get the Moblins all over to that side of the room so there aren't any Redeads. Then take care of the other Redeads. Next room is a Mothula and some purple choo-choos. Just throw a fire arrow at the Mothula and then dispose of the choo-choos. This next room contains Poes and Moblins. There was a room like this in the Earth Temple that had less Poes and Moblins, but it's a similar concept. I would recommend getting rid of the moblins first. The Poe, because if the Poes do take control of you, you can just run over to the light and the Poe will instantly die. So that is one of the Poe's attacks, if you remember. They can control you, and then your controls are reversed. Just know that your controls are reversed, and then just walk into the light, and the Poes will die. So this next room is a very annoying room. You want to use your hook shot, but then try and hit the blue bubbles from afar. The nice thing about the Stalfos, though, is that he's not very fast. So if you really want to, you can go around the room and just take out the blue bubbles. There are 2 Stalfos in here, so don't worry too much about them. They're very slow. So then the Stalfos again. If you haven't seen the technique that I use to defeat them, is to throw a bomb and then throw the boomerang immediately after. Make sure you're standing close enough so that when the head comes off, you'll hit them with the boomerang, because that happened to me a couple times. But that was the end of the Earth Temple segment, so this last is not actually a Wind Temple segment, it's just an amalgamation of enemies in difficult configurations. So this first room is a ton of mini blends. Basically just keep pressing B and you should be fine. This next room is going to have a lot of choo-choos, and eventually even yellow ones will fall down. So the way I like to take this out is to throw a bomb, because it will stun a lot of choo-choos, and then go with a hurricane spin. Then you can take out the remainders after with your boomerang and sword. So that's one way I like to approach this room. You can just go straight up boomerang sorting things, but the problem is these yellow choo-choos will get in your way because they're electrified, and so you might accidentally hit them. So I like the bomb method to stun a lot of them first. So this next room, you want to hit the spike in the middle, and then there are some red scarved Wizrobes that will shoot only fire at you. Take them out with fire arrows because there's a lot of them. Next room are a bunch of bokoblins. You can use a hurricane spin, but I find that not very effective actually, as you saw in the video, because you're only going to get one hit on them, and you're only going to get one hit on them, and then you're going to be dizzy afterward. So the best way to take them out actually is to just go the smash and slash method, I think, and pay attention to your parry attacks. So this room can also be kind of difficult. Luckily, the Stalfos are really slow. Take the Redeads out first so they don't get in your way, and just by going around the room. Since the Stalfos are slow, they won't bother you too much. Then you can take out the 2 Stalfos in the middle of the room pretty simply. So this next room is going to have some moblins and darknuts, although it's still not that difficult because you can knock over the columns for some hearts, and the white darknuts are basically ones that we've seen throughout the game, so they're not too difficult. This next room, though, is going to be kind of a challenge. There are red scarved Wizrobes, and the outside of the room is laced with electric fence, so watch out for that. Then there are some black darknuts. Take them out. They have a little bit more HP than the white ones, a little bit harder to deal with, but they still shouldn't be too bad. Remember that you can use your boomerang as soon as their helmets are off. Then you can head down to the next room. So this room has 2 Stalfos in a field of bombs, or 3 Stalfos, my bad, in a field of bombs. honestly, I don't feel like this room is that difficult, as sometimes you might be accidentally hitting the Stalfos, or hitting a bomb instead of the Stalfos head, but if you use the boomerang method, really there's not too much that can go wrong. Obviously right there I wasn't able to one cycle him, but you can keep spamming the boomerang too, and that will eventually defeat him. It might do as much damage as your sword. Finally, this last room is by far the hardest. There are 4 Dark Nuts, and if you go to the edges of the room, fire will be breathed on you by that little gargoyle. So you have to stay in the middle of the room, and you can't let them push you to the outside, so make sure you're using your space wisely, switching targets as often as you can. They'll possibly hit each other, which will help you out in the long run. This will probably take away most of your life for the entire Savage Labyrinth, but this is also the final room of the Savage Labyrinth, so once you defeat them though, you're done. And you're basically done with all the side... Not basically, you are done with all the side quests of the game if you've been following the walkthrough. That's it. That was the final side quest of the game, the last 20 floors of the Savage Labyrinth. So what do we get? Well, in the GameCube version you get a piece of heart. But in this version, you get something that in the GameCube version you could have got a long time ago. The Hero's Charm. This will let you see how much life an enemy has left. And so I'll be wearing this the rest of the game just to give it some screen time. It's up to you if you want to wear it or not. It doesn't make that much of a difference, to be honest. Especially now because we get it so late in the game. In the GameCube version, you get it from Mrs. Marie for giving her 40 joy pendants. So instead of the treasure chart that we got from her earlier in the game, which led to a heart piece, that's how they make up for the heart piece in this place, you get the Hero's Charm from her, and you can get that really early in the game, after like the first dungeon. So, but now it's pretty late in the game. I see why they changed it. It's not that broken of an item though. But that's it for Chapter 12, so join me next time for Chapter 13, where we finish the game. We will be done with the Wind Waker HD. So sad, but I will see you guys then. See you next time.